Hi, horse friends. Just a few weeks ago, the horse world was shaken by one of the most disturbing acts of violence many of us have ever seen at a horse show. What would have been an exciting weekend of barrel racing at the National Barrel Horse Association Professionals Choice Vegas Super Show instead became the scene of a nightmare that no horse owner ever wants to imagine. During the night, 3 horses, Sully, Detail, and Rocket, were allegedly stabbed while standing in their stalls. The incident sent shockwaves throughout the entire equestrian community because it reminded all of us just how quickly an ordinary horse show can turn into something unimaginable. Since then, thousands of people have been asking the same question: how are the horses doing now? Today, we finally have a heartfelt update from their owners. While there is certainly reason to be hopeful, this story also reminds us that recovering from a traumatic injury is rarely quick or straightforward. Healing takes time, patience, and an incredible amount of care. And these horses are continuing to prove just how resilient they are. Before we talk about the updates, I think it is important to remember just how serious these injuries really were. When people hear that all 3 horses survived, it is easy to assume they suffered relatively minor wounds. That was not the case. These were not superficial cuts that healed after a few stitches. The injuries were deep, painful, and potentially life-threatening. Sully, in particularly, came terrifyingly close to losing his life. One of the stab wounds nearly missed a major vein in his neck. According to his owner, had that wound only been slightly different, the outcome could have been devastating. It is difficult to even think about how close this story came to ending very differently. Thanks to immediate veterinary care and a tremendous amount of determination from both Sully and his medical team, he survived. However, surviving the attack was only the beginning of a very long recovery. Many horse owners understand that healing is not simply about closing a wound. Beneath the surface, muscles, tendons, connective tissues, nerves, and blood vessels all need time to repair themselves. Even when the outside looks much better, internal healing can still be taking place. That is why veterinarians often rely on ultrasound examinations to determine whether a horse is truly ready to return to work rather than simply looking at the skin. That brings us to Sully's newest update. His owner recently shared that Sully underwent another round of ultrasound examinations. Like many following his story, she hoped the scans would show enough healing for him to begin returning to competition. Instead, the veterinarians found that while Sully had made tremendous progress, he still needs additional time. The damaged tissues continue to heal, but they are not yet strong enough for the demands of barrel racing. As a result, his veterinary team has recommended another 60 days of recovery before considering a return to competition. I know that probably was not the news anyone wanted to hear. Everyone loves seeing comeback stories, and many people were hoping Sully would soon be back flying around the barrels. However, in many ways, this is exactly the update you hope for from a veterinarian. Rather than rushing him back because he looks better on the outside, they are making decisions based on what the internal healing is actually showing. That kind of patience gives Sully the best possible chance of making a full recovery instead of risking another injury by returning too soon. I think there's an important lesson here for all of us horse owners. Horses often do not understand that they are supposed to take it easy. Once they begin feeling better, many of them act like nothing ever happened. They run, they play, they buck around in turnout, and they want to go back to work. It becomes our responsibility, along with our veterinarians, to make decisions based on medical evidence rather than excitement. Sully may be feeling much better, but his body still needs time to finish healing. His owner has remained remarkably positive throughout this entire process. She has repeatedly expressed just how grateful she is that Sully is still alive. When you remember how close that wound came to a major vein, it becomes much easier to understand why another 60 days feels like a small price to pay. Missing a few more competitions is insignificant compared to losing a horse you love. Now, let's talk about Detail. Detail's recovery has been encouraging, but her owner has also shared something that many people may not immediately think about after an event like this. Physical wounds are the only part of the recovery. Horses can also experience fear after traumatic events. Following the attack, Detail became much more hesitant around people. Her owner described moments where she would pull away from a hand reaching toward her. That may not sound significant to someone who does not own horses, but to those of us who spend every day with them, it is heartbreaking. Horses build their lives around trust. They trust us to feed them, care for them, saddle them, and protect them. When something violent happens while they are standing quietly in a stall, that sense of security can be shaken. Fortunately, Detail continues making steady progress. Her owner reports that her wounds are healing well. Her stitches have been removed, and perhaps most importantly, she is slowly becoming more comfortable again. Her confidence is beginning to return one day at a time. Those small improvements may not seem dramatic from the outside, but anyone who has rehabilitated an injured horse knows those are often the biggest victories. Every relaxed grooming session, every calm interaction, and every moment where trust is rebuilt represents another important step forward. Then there is Rocket. Rocket also continues recovering from his injuries. His owner has shared that he is progressing well and continues moving in the right direction. Like Sully and Detail, the focus has been on allowing his body to heal completely before returning to athletic work. Recovery is rarely a straight line. There are good days and frustrating days, but the encouraging news is that all three horses continue moving forward. One thing that has stood out throughout this entire tragedy has been the incredible support shown by the horse community. People from across the country donated towards veterinary expenses. Competitors who had never met these owners before reached out with messages of encouragement. Social media became filled with prayers, well wishes, and updates as thousands of people checked in to see how these horses were doing. I think moments like this remind us why the horse world is such a unique community. We may compete in different disciplines. Some of us barrel race, others ride dressage, show jumping, eventing, ranch riding, Western pleasure, endurance, and more. Despite all of those differences, we share one thing in common. We love horses. When one horse suffers, it affects all of us because we know how much trust these incredible animals place in the people who care for them. Many people continue asking about the criminal case as well. Authorities allege that a teenage competitor was responsible for stabbing the three horses during the event. Prosecutors have sought to move the case into adult court because of the seriousness of the allegations. The legal process is still ongoing, so there are still many questions that remain unanswered. As always, we will continue following the case and reporting verified information as it becomes available. Thank you so much for joining us, and remember, I am not AI. If you listen closely, you can hear me breathing.